Hey everyone, Connie here, and today we are reacting to Persona 5, the animation. I believe this is episode 4? Yes, episode 4. So sorry for this being so late. Normally I do these on Monday, but things just got away from me due to various reasons. um, but we're here. We get to it, better late than never, right? So last time around we got on unlocking the Panther side of her, and she's unlocked Carmen, her persona. Now, we see that Kamo-shit-a isn't just defeated. He hasn't been defeated yet, and there's still more to go, and that's kind of where we're going with this episode, I feel. I don't think we're going to get to the final battle this episode. I think there's still a bit more that needs to be gone through before we get to the final battle. I know in this episode, I believe there's going to be some discussions and stuff with An compared to the with An and the other two, Ren and his name always escapes me, the other one, Ryuji. There's going to be some discussions and stuff, especially with the aftermath of Shiho and everything that went on with her. Um, Maybe it's just because the game has so many side things that it feels like it's going to be a lot longer, but it just feels like we shouldn't get to the final battle with Kamo-shit-a yet. It feels too early, you know? And I know he's only the first villain, the first enemy that they face. But I still feel like this should go until at least the next episode. I think the first 5 episodes focusing on bringing our first 3 plus Morgana together, alongside, of course, the first castle and the first or palace. The castle is the specific palace. The first palace and the first main villain. I think it would be best to do it that way, have that be the first 5 episodes. Now, I don't actually know how many episodes this series is going to be. Let me see if it says on my anime list real quick, but I don't think it's been announced yet. I might be completely wrong for all I know. Let me just check real quick. Okay, I am wrong. It's listed as 24 episodes. Now, obviously, for as long of a game as it is, they're going to have to skip past some stuff, either that or make a second season. But I don't see them making a second season. So that means in the course of 24 episodes, they have to cover everything. So I think 5 episodes, the first 5 episodes, focusing on introducing our first 3 characters and facing the first boss, I think that would make sense. Trying to finish this all in episode 4 would be... I just feel a little too early, in my eyes. Maybe that's just me, though. But I'm excited to see where we get with this, because even if this is going to be the final episode for this part of the story, I haven't seen anything past that. After Kamo-shit-a's defeat, I've seen a little few side things from the Let's Play that Rarity Dash did, but I don't think he really continued much of the story, at least to the point where I was at. So pretty much everything from that point forward is going to be new to me. Unless they do go into some of the side things, which I'll be a little surprised at. But I mean, heck, maybe 1 episode to get into that kind of stuff. I don't know. Either way, I'm excited to find out, and I'm excited to see what this episode has in store, because last episode was fantastic, and I'm really hoping they continue to do well with this. I don't know if this is going to be as good as Persona 4, the animation was, because that was really good, and that had a really big impact. But I think it's going to do well. I think it's going to be good. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So this was another good episode. I still feel like it could have been extended a little bit. Specifically, the discussion they had on the roof and the kind of side stuff that they went through. It felt like it was glossed over just a little bit. But I didn't expect them to go into as much as they did. Certain things I didn't expect to be covered at all, such as the different personas and whatnot that Joker can have. But I guess that's kind of important if you think about it, because one, it's where he gets his name from. Two, it's kind of one of the defining traits of his character, from what I've gathered. That Ren, his character, he's special in the way that he can use multiple personas. It helps him stand out in a way. And I believe Yu Narukami from Persona 4 could do the same thing. I believe he had multiple personas as well, other than just Izanagi. I haven't seen Persona 4 in quite a bit of time, so if I'm wrong about that. But I think he had more than just Izanagi. I think the difference, though, is that I believe you could like switch his personas and use one or the other at any time. With Persona 5, it's more like Ren has to like give up personas. He's not going to be able to use Arsene again. I believe how it went in the game is that you can sacrifice and combine personas and stuff in order to use them in different ways and whatnot. And I believe that's what he did by getting rid of Arsene to get this new one, who we didn't actually get told the name, and I don't remember the name from seeing the gameplay stuff. Again, it's been a while, but yeah. Either way, I want to talk about Ren specifically, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. Let's wrap up this arc. So, the first arc of Persona 5 was about our main three characters coming together. And I'm calling them the main three because it's very clear that this first arc centered around them coming together. And that's how a lot of these anime and games and shows work. They start off the series, or whatever, by bringing together our main group, our initial set of heroes. And then others come in throughout time. For a big example of this, since I actually referenced it during the reaction, would be One Piece. One Piece started out with its first major arc bringing together Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. Now, there were a couple like mini arcs that were combined together into the one. A couple little things that all connected together, but it all focused around, that was how it started. That's how One Piece started, with this Romance Dawn arc, just by bringing everyone together, those three main members. And throughout the rest of the series, they've added on new members every now and again. They added Usopp, they added Sanji, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brooke, and hopefully they'll be adding a new member soon, because it's been quite a while since they added Brooke. I'm hoping for someone like Carrot or Jinbei. I still have to get caught up, but I'm really far behind, but that's not the point. They also have the fleet, which is all of these other crews that have pledged allegiance to them, such as the Barto Club and whatnot, but that's another thing for another time. Point is, in a lot of these, it gathers the main group first and then adds on. And it's not saying that the members who are added on later are any less important. They're just not part of the initial main group. With what we have here, Ren, An, and Ryuji, they're the ones who started the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. They're the ones who just got everything going and took out the first palace. Everything is happening in this game. All of it is because of their alliance with each other. They are the main group. And even if these other characters who come in later, like Sakura Futuba, I believe was the nerdy girl, her name. And then there's this other one, this detective, I think his name was Goro Akechi. I think he might be joining them as well. I'm not entirely sure. But when the other characters, the other teammates come in, they're gonna be important to the group for sure. They're gonna be a part of the Phantom Thieves of Hearts, but they're not the main group. And heck, some of them might end up being more useful than the others, or a bigger deal in certain fights. But we'll still always have our main group. That's all I'm trying to say. Even going back to Persona 4, Yu Narukami, Yosuke, and Chie and her name is escaping me. Chie's friend, Yukiko? I think it was Yukiko. Something like that. Um, those four were the main group in Persona 4. And then we had others like Kanji, Naoto, Rize. We had them join later on. But those four were the big ones that really started out because Chie and Yukiko were already friends. And Yosuke was kind of friends with them as well already. Just, I guess you could say friends. And then when Yu came to town, he made friends with all three of them pretty much at once. The others all came later on in their own little separate stories, their own little separate arcs. Um, you get what I'm trying to say, though. So this episode finished off with our opening arc, which was all centered around Kamo-shit-a and just how much of a horrible scumbag he is. And how they changed his heart. They basically forced him to confess and everything, forced him to have this change of heart by defeating him in the other world. Um, which is... I could see if someone said, like, it didn't feel genuine because of that, because they kind of forced it on him and it didn't come from his own, like, actual legitimate, how do I put it? It's almost like he didn't mean it. I mean, we know he did. Like, it was, he did mean it, sort of, but it was kind of forced upon him, like they had to force the change in Kamo-shit-a's heart. And everything afterwards, all his confessions, and then admitting he has to face reparations for his crimes and have the police called on him and everything. All of that was because of what they did. He didn't come to this conclusion on his own. He didn't see his wrongs on his own. He had to basically be forced into it. So I could see how some people might find issue with that. But I don't think that's really the point here. I think it's trying to tell us that there are some people who are just so messed up, so just horrible in this world, that they're not going to listen to reason, that they're not going to just see the error of their ways like that they're going to need to be forced to come to these kinds of conclusions. Of course, not in this same way. This is kind of an extreme metaphor of that, but you get the general idea. That it's trying to say that some people are just so much horrible scumbags that they need to be stopped, and people need to actually actively stop them. We can't just rely on them coming to this conclusion themselves all the time, because a lot of times there's a lot of these people out there who will not do that, who will not see anything wrong with what they're doing. So we need to act. We can't just speak out, because speaking out doesn't always help. We need to actually do something. And I think this game and show, it explains that really well. Again, in a metaphorical sense, that's kind of overblowing it a bit, but that's kind of the point. It's kind of how Persona works. Let's be honest. I don't know like what the overall themes of this show is going to be, or the game in general as well. But that's what I'm viewing from this. That you need to act in order to stop these injustices. That you can't just talk. You can't just expect things to change on their own. You need to actually take action in order to right the wrongs of the world. And I think that's a very good lesson to teach to, well, in this case, since it's the show, teach to the viewers. Because a lot of people don't realize that in this day and age, believe it or not. It is becoming a lot more of a how do I put it? I have these just blank mind moments. Like, I just completely forget what I'm trying to say here. It's becoming a lot more of a commonplace idea, I guess you could say, in modern times, with stuff like the Me Too movement and whatnot going strong, people being outed for sexual abuse and just horrible actions all the time. It's become a lot bigger of a deal, and people are seeing that yes, we have to take action. Speaking out about things, I mean, is great and all, but you have to do more a lot of the times. I mean, speaking out only helps you get so far. You have to act. You can't just talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. And that's becoming a lot bigger of a thing in the modern day. And I like how this game is kind of touching on that in a way, even though this game was in development for years and years. Um, it's still touching on something that's very relevant to how our world is in 2018. And I can respect that. But let's talk about Ren. So let's talk about Ren. Um, Ren is an interesting character for me. I know this arc wasn't really too much about him or anything, even though he's kind of the main character. This was mostly focusing around An, but I do want to talk about him because he's interesting. My first experience with Persona was with Persona 4 the animation, and of course our main character in that was Yu Narukami. Yu started off as kind of a blank slate, but as the series progressed, he opened up more and gained more of a personality. And even at the beginning, even while he was kind of blank, he still had personality, still had a character to him. The next Persona-based thing I saw that wasn't related to Persona 4 the animation was the movie, which I reacted to on my now terminated old channel. I saw the Persona. I reacted to the first Persona 3 movie, and I mentioned it in that reaction, but I felt that the main character of that, I don't even remember his name, was completely void of any kind of personality. He was worse than Yu ever was at the beginning of Persona 4. He was just so devoid of any kind of personality or character in my eyes. And again, like with Yu, maybe that improves over time, but to have it be that bad, just, it bothered me. So then we get to Persona 5, and Ren Amamiya is kind of in the middle of that. He definitely does not have as much of a personality as Narukami from Persona 4. He definitely doesn't, and although I can see him definitely gaining more personality as the series progresses and opening up more, he just doesn't have as much. He's not as personable. He has a character. He definitely has things that he stands up for, and he'll get vocal at points. He shows that he cares about certain things by he'll smile and stuff, and he'll react to certain things certain ways. But he's not super outgoing or super out there in terms of any kind of big personality traits. But at the same time, he still has something. He's not as bad as the Persona 3 protagonist, to where he does have something. He's just not so completely blank that he doesn't even have a character to him. So it's kind of weird for me. I really hope that they do grow him as a character as the series progresses, because right now he's honestly my least favorite of the main group. An is definitely my favorite, and Ryuji is a close second. But Ren is just kind of like falling behind because of just, he needs a little something more. He needs something to really just bounce off of outside of them. And we saw in Persona 4, Narukami had his uncle and cousin. And his character and his personality were able to bounce off them really well. And of course, yes, he had his friends and he bounced off of them as well, but he had something else. He had something more. And yes, Ren has Sakura Sensei, or whatever his name is, the dude who's watching over him. But I don't feel that's enough. I don't feel that's enough. And by the way, I noticed I forgot to mention Morgana in terms of the main group. Um, and it's not really that I forgot to mention him. I don't really consider him part of the main group. I consider him more like one of those helper tutorial characters who are just kind of there to give you tips and tricks and stuff. Even though he's actively like participating in things, he's definitely a hand holding type character. He's like, oh, you can do this. Oh, this means that. It's like, really? um, he's definitely that kind of character, and so I don't really consider him part of the group. I consider him like this guidance character that's actually outside of the group in a way, if that makes any sense. um, but yeah, it's just like with Ren, I feel like they have some work to do. I feel like they need something more for him to bounce his personality off of. And I feel that's where some of these other characters could come into play. This doctor we saw, even Sakura, the guy, again, the guy who's taking care of him, I think his name's Sakura. I might be completely wrong about that. The the gun salesman, though I doubt he's going to have any kind of role, really. I just want to see some of these characters really be able to work into bouncing just his personality off of them so that he can grow more. Even the other teachers, the teachers at school and stuff, that would even work. I don't know. I just feel like he needs something more to him right now. And I'm sure that we're going to get that. I'm sure we will at some point. I just don't know when. We'll see. We'll see. I do have hope in this series. But yeah, as I had said, this is the end of the first arc. This is the end of, as I'm going to call it, the Kamo-shit-a arc. I don't know what's next. I do not know what's next. I know there's like a few other members of the group we have yet to have join in. Besides Sakura Futaba and Goro Akechi, there's also the blue-haired dude we had already been seeing. I think he's probably going to be the next one to join. There's this one brunette girl. I think her name is Haru or something like that. I know she's pretty popular. I know a lot of people like her, and she's probably going to join in somewhat soon. So there's Goro, there's Sakura Futaba, there's the blue-haired dude, there's Haru. I think that's it. But we've got plenty. The point is, we've got more characters to really introduce, to really bring into things. And we've got 24 episodes, which means 20 more episodes left. I think we've got plenty of time. And considering this first palace was only 4 episodes, I don't know how many palaces there are in the game or how many main story parts there are. But I definitely think that they're going to be able to pace this to a way that 24 episodes will be able to work. Again, they're not going to go into as much of the side stuff. I just don't see it happening. So yeah, I think this is turning out pretty well so far. I'm enjoying it at least, and this is definitely more of the reasoning why I stopped watching Rarity Dash's Let's Play, because maybe it's better playing it yourself, but trying to watch a Let's Play of that with all the constant side stuff where it's like just hours of nothing actually happening, that's not what I want to see. I want to see story. I want to see these character moments. I want to see big things happening that like relate to the plot. I don't care about that side stuff. Honestly, if I were playing the game myself, I would probably be completely ignoring most of that. Like, I know you can get a job or something and stuff like that. I'd probably be completely ignoring that and just focusing entirely on the story. That's what I care about. That's what I want to see. All of this side stuff doesn't interest me at all. So that's why I stopped watching his Let's Plays. Not because of him at all. I love Rarity Dash's videos, but I just could not get into it because of all that. I just kept wanting to see the story. I didn't want to skip through hours and hours of content and then maybe have him say something during the actual good stuff that's like, wait, what are you talking about? You're referencing something you said before? And it's like, I'd be missing so much, I feel. I don't know. That's why I stopped watching that and was just going to wait for the anime. And so far, I'm not disappointed. So far, there were a couple pacing issues with the first couple episodes, but outside of that, it's worked. And I think it's good. It's focusing on the story. It's focusing on what it should be focusing on. In my eyes, the story is the most important aspect of any game. Well, at least games that have stories, because there are some games that out there that are just silly fun and don't have a story. But you get what I'm saying. I'm not gonna ramble on any longer. I've talked about this enough. Tell me in the comments below what you thought of Persona 5 The Animation Episode 4. What did you think of the ending to the Kamo-shit-a arc? What are your thoughts on Kamo-shit-a's turning around? Did you think that it felt kind of forced because he was forced into it? Or do you see the kind of metaphorical viewpoints they were trying to, I guess, push with it? Tell me your thoughts on all of that and more in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for understanding about it being late. I do apologize for that. This next week's shouldn't be as late. Hopefully. Anyway, for now, I'm Connie Royal, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears